You unwrap your food, take a bite, and pause. Something's different. The texture's too soft, the flavor oddly familiar, and the smell? Kind of like cleaning supplies. Some places don't just serve food, they serve carefully packaged illusions. From behind-the-scenes shortcuts to kitchen secrets, here are the spots that aren't quite what they seem. Let's kick things off with one that's mastered the art of illusion. Have you ever taken a bite of a Big Mac, closed your eyes and think, tastes like global capitalism and childhood regret? No, just wait. McDonald's wants you to think you're biting into a warm hug, a clean, happy, wholesome slice of Americana. Except the hug is from a greasy clown who might have just reheated your breakfast burrito next to a bucket of mop water. No joke. One ex-employee flat out admitted their tea bucket sat right next to the mop bucket. Identical twins, one full of Lipton, one full of Lysol. Good luck playing roulette with that one. But hey, the ads are shiny. Burgers stacked like architecture school projects, steam rising in slow motion. Reality? It's more like squashed sadness between two sugar-coated buns. And yes, there's actual sugar on the fries. McDonald's sprinkles dextrose to make sure they hit that golden color. So if you've ever felt addicted to those fries, you kind of are. That's by design. Salt, fat, sugar, repeat. It's not food, it's formula. What happens when food is built to hijack your brain instead of feed your body? Now, let's talk fresh. McDonald's rolled out fresh beef in their quarter pounders with the kind of PR blitz you'd expect from a vaccine launch. Except in 2024, that freshness came with a side of E. coli. 49 people got sick, one died. The cause? Possibly contaminated onions or the beef itself. Either way, when your burger sends people to the ER, maybe don't brag about ditching the freezer. And let's not pretend the rest of the menu is any safer. Chicken McNuggets? Less chicken, more science experiment. One former worker called them absolutely revolting. Another admitted that timers meant to toss old nuggets are just reset when the boss isn't looking. The phrase heat lamp chicken lottery comes to mind. Scrambled eggs? Not cracked fresh. They come from liquid mix, unless you specifically order the Egg McMuffin, which gets the lone fresh cracked egg. Everything else? Microwaved patties, frozen pancakes, salad kits shipped in bags that once caused a parasite outbreak. Over 500 people got sick in 2018 from trying to be healthy at McDonald's. That's the real kicker. Even when you try to make a good choice here, you're rolling the dice with your intestines. At what point does healthier just mean differently dangerous? Speaking of health, remember that sweet tea you thought was the safe drink? Yeah, one employee spilled the recipe. 5 gallons of water, 1 industrial tea bag, and 4 pounds of sugar. That's 40 grams of sugar per small cup. You're better off just injecting a pixie stick. But let's pull back the greasy curtain a little more. The famous ice cream machine that's always broken? Not always. Sometimes the staff just doesn't want to lug the heavy bag of mix up a ladder and wait 15 minutes for it to freeze. So they lie. Honestly, can't blame them. But also, I want my damn McFlurry. Then there's the vibe behind the counter. One former employee tweeted photos of their ice cream machine's tray covered in gray slime. Another admitted the McCafe coffee machine was cleaned so rarely that bacteria came with every latte. And if you thought ketchup pumps were safe, staff say they top off the old stuff, meaning your squirt of Heinz might contain remnants from the Obama administration. Let's not forget the lawsuits. McDonald's has been sued for everything from sexual harassment to serving bleach instead of Sprite. One guy ended up in the hospital after sipping what turned out to be degreaser. Another customer allegedly found maggots crawling in a burger. In India, someone bit into fries and found a deep-fried lizard. That's not a Happy Meal. That's a nature documentary gone wrong. And yet, we keep going back. Why? Because McDonald's is a genius at making you crave what you know you shouldn't want. The food is cheap, fast, engineered to hit your dopamine center like a slot machine, and wrapped in nostalgia. You don't need a reason, you just need a drive-thru. They've even got global versions that taste better. In the UK, fries are vegetarian. In Japan, chicken fillets with shaker seasoning. In Germany, you can order a beer. Meanwhile, in the US, we're out here getting food poisoning from a quarter pounder and pretending artisanal grilled chicken isn't just factory marinated sadness with fake grill marks. Oh, and remember how McDonald's bragged about ditching artificial preservatives? They just swapped in natural ones like cultured celery extract, which, spoiler alert, is still a preservative. But sure, let's all clap because the buns don't contain the yoga mat chemical anymore. So yeah, next time you're craving a Big Mac at 1 a.m., just know what you're biting into. Nostalgia, additives, and a whole lot of processed spin. Ever taken a sip of something at a drive-thru and immediately regretted it? Tell us in the comments. We're bracing ourselves. Thought that was bad? The next one might actually ruin salads for you. Our next chain loves to tell you they're the king of fresh sandwiches. But let's talk about what fresh actually means. That bright green lettuce you see piled high on your sub? It might look crisp, but by the time it hits your sandwich, it's spent the better part of a week slowly wilting away in plastic bags. According to franchise owners, Subway delivers veggies just once a week, which explains why, after a few days, that lettuce tastes less like a farm-fresh salad and more like shredded paper. One store owner even called the whole Eat Fresh slogan unethical, and honestly, who can blame him? Speaking of questionable marketing, remember when Subway made headlines because their famous foot-long sandwich was, shockingly, only 11 inches? Turns out, foot-long is less a measurement and more of a branding suggestion. The company was dragged into court over that missing inch, and hilariously, Subway promised they'd try harder next time. But even the judge laughed off their promise, calling their settlement utterly worthless. Apparently, the bread can't be expected to follow the rules of measurement, something Subway conveniently forgot to tell customers. But hey, who cares about bread length when your bread isn't even bread? Yep, Subway's dough is so packed with sugar, Ireland's Supreme Court literally ruled that it's cake, not bread. Imagine walking into Subway expecting a healthy sandwich and leaving with dessert. This sugar-loaded recipe also explains that weirdly addictive smell you get hit with whenever you walk past a Subway. It's basically a sweet perfume designed to pull you inside. Congratulations, you've been sniffing cake air this entire time. Subway's bread didn't just have a sugar scandal, it got caught using a chemical found in yoga mats. Back in 2014, someone realized Subway was conditioning its dough with azotic carbonamide, the same stuff used to make gym mats squishy. Customers, understandably, weren't thrilled about eating yoga accessories. After massive outrage and tens of thousands of angry signatures, Subway finally ditched the chemical, but the damage was done. These days, it feels like Subway's bread is better suited for a downward dog than a turkey club. Of course, bread controversies seem quaint compared to Subway's meat drama. A lab in Canada tested Subway's chicken and found it was barely half chicken. The rest? Soy filler. Subway freaked, slapped the lab with a huge lawsuit, and then quickly lost it. Turns out courts don't love it when your 100% chicken is only around 50% bird. Subway's explanation? There was a little soy in there, just a smidge. Because when you say 100%, everyone naturally assumes you mean give or take half. But the chicken wasn't Subway's only protein with an identity crisis. Subway's tuna has become a running joke, literally. A lawsuit accused the chain of serving tuna salad that didn't contain any detectable tuna DNA. Instead, tests reportedly found traces of pork, beef, and chicken. Subway aggressively denied everything, blaming the test methods. But by then, late-night comedians had plenty of material. Now, no one orders a Subway tuna sub without wondering if they're biting into some kind of mystery meat medley. Maybe Subway's next slogan should be, "Eat fresh-ish." Behind the counter, the fresh ingredients have even more secrets. Former Subway employees have spilled the beans. Almost everything is pre-packaged, pre-frozen, or pre-cooked. Sandwich artists aren't exactly crafting masterpieces. They're mostly reheating frozen meatballs or cracking open vacuum-sealed bags of pre-cut veggies. Even Subway cookies, the universally beloved item, arrive as frozen hockey pucks waiting to be thawed and heated. Basically, Subway is just a glorified microwave with branding. But it's not just questionable ingredients, you've also got some truly stomach-turning customer horror stories, like the guy who bit into his sub only to find a dead mouse snuggled in his spinach. Health inspectors traced it back to pre-bagged produce, and Subway promised it wouldn't happen again. Comforting, right? Another customer gagged on a stink bug hidden in her veggies. Nothing says eat fresh quite like an insect surprise. Sure, every fast food chain has horror stories, but Subway seems particularly skilled at turning your lunch into nightmare fuel. And let's not forget about hygiene, or rather, the glaring lack of it. Employees have confessed to cutting veggies and slicing meats on the same slicer without cleaning in between. Talk about cross-contamination city. Lettuce bins sit overnight, veggies get rehydrated with a splash of water, and workers admit to wearing the same gloves handling cash as they do crafting sandwiches. But here's the kicker. People keep lining up. Why? Because Subway built its brand as a convenient, healthier option. You pick your toppings, it feels personal, and the prices seem reasonable. Even after all these scandals, Subway's managed to keep a bizarre hold over our lunch habits, almost like a bad relationship you just can't quit. Ever kept going back to a restaurant even after it let you down? Be honest. Drop it in the comments. Think that was bad? The next place made headlines for sending people straight to the hospital. This restaurant wants you to think they're the wholesome hero of fast food, The burrito joint with morals, no microwaves, no freezers, and supposedly food with integrity. It sounds great on paper, but turns out integrity might be an interesting word for something that can land you in the ER faster than you can say, guac is extra. Yes, you're right, we're talking about Chipotle. See, Chipotle built their brand on farm-fresh ingredients and ethical sourcing. They proudly told you there's nothing artificial, and for a hot minute, it worked. They had Oprah on speed dial, Michael Pollan singing praises, and customers believing that eating a burrito the size of your arm somehow counted as clean eating. The reality check? That loaded Chipotle burrito can pack over 200 calories and 2,500 milligrams of sodium. To put it bluntly, that's more sodium than 2 Big Macs combined. Yep, turns out Chipotle's health halo has enough salt to pickle your insides, but hey, at least it's GMO-free, right? But when the marketing feels cleaner than the food, does it even matter what's in the bowl? Well, not exactly. Chipotle made waves claiming to ditch GMOs completely, but here's where the marketing magic falters. Their meat still came from animals fed GMO grains, and their soda fountains were still pumping out high-fructose corn syrup made from GMO corn. Basically, Chipotle was GM over it, as long as no one looked too closely at the soda machine. But the true crisis, the burrito apocalypse that nearly crushed Chipotle, came between 2015 and 2018, when their ultra-fresh ingredients turned out to be too fresh. We're talking E. coli, salmonella, norovirus, the holy trinity of bathroom nightmares. More than 1,000 people across the country suddenly realized fresh ingredients could also mean freshly contaminated. Chipotle's spotless image turned into a national punchline overnight. How does a brand built on fresh bounce back after turning into a national health hazard? After a manager infected an entire college basketball team with norovirus because he was pressured to work while sick, Chipotle had to shut down every single location nationwide for a mass sanitation pep talk. This wasn't some small PR hiccup. This was an epic disaster, a bacterial blockbuster with more twists than a Netflix docuseries. But did it fix the problem? Well, Chipotle swore they'd learned their lesson, rolling out lab-tested veggies and sous vide steak cooked at central kitchens. Sure, employees still show up at dawn to chop onions and mash avocados, but behind the scenes, pre-cooked proteins and vacuum-sealed veggies quietly creep into your burrito bowl. Remember Chipotle's proud promise of no shortcuts? Turns out blanching jalapenos and boiling avocados in hot water is a shortcut they didn't mention in those feel-good ads. And speaking of shortcuts, the queso saga deserves special mention. After years of customers begging for cheese dip, Chipotle proudly launched their all-natural queso. The result? A curdled, grainy mess that Twitter immediately branded a crime against cheese. Chipotle doubled down, insisting that their queso was delicious precisely because it didn't contain additives. Customers disagreed, and so did their stock price. But nothing hits harder than the actual customer horror stories, like diners biting into raw pink chicken and finding squirming green insects crawling out of their salads. And who could forget that legendary Dallas Chipotle where rats literally dropped from the ceiling mid-lunch rush? As one customer put it, if we'd been sitting one table over, a rat would have landed right in our burrito bowl. Health inspectors haven't been kind either. After multiple outbreaks, Chipotle landed a record-setting $25 million fine from the Department of Justice for serving contaminated food. You'd think after paying millions they'd tighten things up, but inspectors kept finding violations: lukewarm beans, spoiled lettuce, and unwashed hands. Chipotle's squeaky clean brand seems stuck in an endless game of sanitation whack-a-mole. Yet, despite all this, Chipotle somehow survives, actually thrives. Why? Because damn it, their burritos taste good. They nailed the flavor, nailed the convenience, and nailed the art of free burrito apologies after every disaster. Ever forgiven a food chain just because the taste was too good to quit? Drop your guilty pleasure in the comments. If you thought lukewarm beans were bad, wait till you hear what crawled out of the fryer next. You know that feeling. It's 1 a.m., your standards have evaporated along with any self-respect, and Taco Bell whispers seductively, "Fourth meal." But before you get too cozy reminiscing about that cheesy gordita crunch, you might want to buckle up, because what you're about to learn will make even your strongest taco cravings shrivel. Taco Bell isn't just a fast food chain. It's a carefully crafted illusion, a lifestyle brand that somehow convinced us microwaved mystery meat equals bold rebellion. What does it say about us when we confuse branding with quality? Remember the Taco Bell Hotel pop-up? It sold out faster than a Beyoncé concert. The marketing geniuses at Taco Bell call themselves irreverent. What they don't tell you is their kitchens are just as irreverent, about cleanliness, freshness, or basic dignity. Let's get one thing clear. That marinated grilled steak in your taco, it never met a flame in the restaurant. It's boiled, yes, boiled, in vacuum-sealed plastic bags. Imagine a steak spa day gone terribly wrong. A former manager summed it up best. Doesn't resemble anything you'd want in a taco shell. Appetizing. But hey, maybe you're more into their creamy, refried beans. Hate to burst your bean bubble, but those creamy beans start their day as dehydrated pellets resembling rabbit food, dry beige nuggets that employees lovingly stir into hot water. Voila! Instant beans that sit in warming pans all day, refreshed with more water whenever they dry out. Think of it as recycling, Taco Bell style. Their employees even have their own secret hacks, like the legendary sour cream gun. Picture a caulking gun, but instead of grout, it's loaded with sour cream cartridges. One wrong move and you've got a viral TikTok disaster, splattering sour cream chaos worthy of a Jackson Pollock painting. Still hungry? Let's talk meat quality. Taco Bell's seasoned beef is proudly advertised as 88% premium beef. Great, but what's the other 12%? Well, strap on your lab coats. It's a cocktail of oats, soy lecithin, maltodextrin, a sugary starch, and yes, silicon dioxide, aka sand, keeping that seasoning from clumping. Yum, crunchy. But wait, wasn't there a horse meat scandal? At what point does fast food stop being food at all? Yep, 2013, UK Taco Bell's got busted serving beef contaminated with horse DNA. Imagine unwrapping your burrito supreme and wondering if it once neighed. Taco Bell quickly assured everyone the US was unaffected. Small comfort if you were eating Taco Bell in Britain. Giddy up. Speaking of unwanted extras, let's revisit 2019's infamous metal shaving taco. A broken piece of equipment sprinkled metal shards into millions of pounds of seasoned beef. For days, Taco Bell quietly swapped beef for chicken or steak, crossing their fingers nobody would notice or swallow shrapnel. Ever bitten into metal at midnight? That's one crunchy taco experience nobody ordered. But the real horror is behind closed doors, spilled by Taco Bell's own workers. Viral TikTok confessions revealed stores serving expired meat, sometimes over a month old, re-tagged to fool health inspectors. One whistleblower was fired for refusing to sell rotten meat. Corporate's response? Threatening to sue him into silence. You know it's bad when Taco Bell HR gets involved. Talk about Nacho Belgrande lawsuits. Then there are the customers who've had front row seats to Taco Bell's late-night nightmares. Like the poor soul in Indiana who bit into a chicken chalupa only to find a cockroach head staring back. Health inspectors immediately shut the restaurant down, discovering multiple live roaches chilling in the kitchen. Honestly, even the roaches deserved better than Taco Bell. Or the curious case of the poisoned burrito in Colorado. A man claimed his burrito was spiked with actual rat poison, verified by hospital tests. Surveillance tapes cleared employees, leaving everyone scratching their heads. Who poisoned the burrito? Taco Bell basically shrugged and hoped we'd all just forget about it. Comforting, right? Health inspections aren't pretty either. Reports frequently show mold in soda fountains, slime in ice machines, and roach parties happening behind the fryer. Ever had a Baja Blast with a side of black mold? Probably yes, you just didn't know it. Yet despite all this, roach heads, mystery meats, lawsuits, people still flock to Taco Bell like moths to a flame-grilled steak, or at least a flame-pretending steak. Why? Simple. It's addictive junk food chemistry at its finest. Salty, fatty, gooey perfection designed to hit every pleasure button in your tired, late-night brain. Taco Bell's marketing? Genius. Their quality control? An afterthought. Sure, they faced lawsuits for false advertising. Customers furious their crunch wraps were thinner than the promises in Taco Bell commercials. But nobody seriously expects reality to match the ads. After all, we're not there for truth. We're there because Taco Bell at 2 a.m. is a comforting lie we've all agreed to believe. Ever ordered something late night and instantly regretted it? Drop your horror story in the comments. If you thought 2 a.m. tacos were risky, this next one brings the danger straight to your dinner table. Imagine. You're at dinner with your family dipping soft, buttery breadsticks into Alfredo sauce, vibing to that fake Tuscan farmhouse decor, you know, the ones that look like someone raided the home goods clearance rack. But life feels good. Suddenly, something moves in your salad, and this time it's not the romaine. Welcome to Olive Garden, the land of endless breadsticks, microwaved dreams, and surprise protein additions no one asked for. Let's start with that infamous catchphrase, when you're here, you're family. Cute, right? except if your family served you pasta cooked in unsalted water to avoid corroding their cheap pots. Yep, a hedge fund revealed that Olive Garden literally stopped seasoning pasta water. Not for your health, not for taste, but because salt damages cookware warranties. Imagine an Italian grandma hearing that. She'd throw her wooden spoon and disown you right then and there. But maybe Olive Garden's not your typical family, unless your idea of family involves microwaving veggies and meats behind the scenes. Former employees spilled the beans on TikTok, revealing that a disturbing amount of your fresh meals, including veggies, potatoes, and even that delightful apple dessert, get their final warm hug from a microwave before arriving at your table. So yeah, maybe authentic Italian just means authentically reheated leftovers now. At what point does convenience just become deception? Speaking of reheated authenticity, remember Olive Garden's ads boasting about chefs trained at their prestigious Culinary Institute of Tuscany? Turns out, that's basically just a rented Tuscan villa where managers enjoy an off-season vacation. Employees confessed it's less rigorous culinary training, more corporate-sponsored wine-tasting tour, sprinkled with occasional spice lectures. But hey, at least it made for nice Instagram pics and chef coats, right? Now, authenticity aside, Olive Garden's endless soup, salad, and breadsticks have hooked millions. And why not? Unlimited carbs might be the greatest marketing trick ever played. But while you're basking in the buttery garlic glow, behind the scenes, those breadsticks are arriving par-baked and bagged, half-cooked, not freshly kneaded by Nonna herself. Soup, actually homemade daily, but ladled into warming bags and reheated all day. So next time you praise their freshness, just know Olive Garden's interpretation of fresh is more flexible than Grandma's yoga instructor. If even the soup has a shelf life, what exactly are we celebrating as made from scratch? But here's where things tip from questionable to cringeworthy. Employees revealed some nasty hygiene shortcuts behind the scenes. Servers allegedly lost access to sanitizing wipes to cut costs, meaning fewer cleanups between tables. And the salad bar? A former server claimed it was common practice for workers to pick toppings straight out of the bins with their bare hands, snacking mid-shift. So, your unlimited salad might also come with unlimited finger germs. Bugs are apparently no strangers either. Staff recounted regularly picking caterpillars and spiders from the lettuce mix. Nature's garnish, anyone? But the crown jewel of salad horrors came when a customer found a live centipede in their bowl, crawling cheerfully amongst the croutons. And when they screamed, the manager reportedly told them to hush, blaming the produce vendor instead of, I don't know, apologizing. Because at Olive Garden, apparently, the only thing unlimited is the audacity. Then there's the infamous rat's foot minestrone incident. A Michigan man claimed he bit into what he swore was a severed rodent's foot in his soup. Olive Garden denied everything, even suggesting he planted it himself, because naturally, customers bring extra rat appendages to dinner. Whether hoax or horror, it's the kind of image that makes you stare suspiciously at your spoon forever. But let's not stop there. Employees also dropped gems about slugs casually camping out on soda dispensers. Imagine ordering a Coke and getting surprise escargot. The managers allegedly shrugged it off as unavoidable. The casual charm of chain restaurants, where slug-infested sodas are just part of the rustic experience. And yet, people keep flocking back. Maybe it's nostalgia, the addictive carbs, or Olive Garden's viral pop culture comeback. Or perhaps, deep down, we secretly crave the risk, the culinary Russian roulette of wondering whether today's Alfredo sauce was freshly whisked or lovingly nuked. Ever trusted a fresh meal that felt suspiciously reheated? Drop it in the comments. And if you thought endless soup was suspicious, this next chain redefines leftovers. You ever order a sizzling steak and get a plate that smells like microwave popcorn? Welcome to Applebee's, America's favorite place to pretend it's still 2005 and calories don't count if you're sharing the appetizer sampler. Applebee's sells itself as the neighborhood grill and bar, where kids get crayons and moms get cocktails. But behind the vinyl booths and Dollarita deals is a restaurant that's basically one health code violation away from a TLC documentary. Let's start with the food, or as employees lovingly call it, microbees. Because if it fits in a microwave, it's probably on your plate. Steaks and burgers might hit a real grill, but everything else? Boil in a bag riblets, dehydrated mashed potatoes, frozen blondies that get nuked and drizzled like they were handmade by a pastry chef who just gave up. There's even a report of plastic melting onto broccoli during heating. Bon appetit. One former Applebee's cook said, hardly anything is actually fresh. Another line cook admitted, food gets prepped in bulk, on Sunday, for the entire week. So if you're eating spinach dip on Friday, you're basically dining on leftovers aged like a fine regret. How fresh can food really be when it's prepped 6 days ago and reheated by microwave? And those boneless wings? Not wings. They're meat mush molded into nugget shapes and fried. They're the culinary equivalent of catfishing. Looks like wings, tastes like processed childhood trauma. But wait, there's more. Applebee's doesn't just cut corners in the kitchen, they cut expectations right at the door. Remember those $1 margaritas that had everyone posting boomerangs of their sad little cocktail? Turns out it's 1 part bargain tequila, 3 parts water, and a whole bucket of false hope. One employee even called them PTA lemonade, sweet, weak, and best consumed before you remember where you are. Now, let's talk health. Applebee's once rolled out an under 550 calories menu, very clean, very wellness core. Except half of it wasn't actually under 550 calories. They just slapped a Weight Watchers point system on it and hoped no one read the fine print. If the numbers don't add up, can the meal still count as healthy or just clever branding? You wanted a light dinner. You got sodium and sadness. And then there's the salad. Specifically, the Oriental chicken salad, which sounds outdated and tastes like a lawsuit. It was tied to an E. coli outbreak in 2014. Applebee's changed suppliers but refused to name the contaminated one, which really inspires confidence, doesn't it? Oh, and mold. Real, visible mold on food. A customer in Indiana was served a sandwich with fuzzy green fungus growing on the bread, and that was after ordering delivery. Imagine the bravery it takes to open your Applebee's bag and find penicillin forming in real time, not into mold. How about a cockroach? On your plate. It happened in Wisconsin, and the location was temporarily shut down after inspectors confirmed a full-blown roach infestation. When customers posted about it online, the manager claimed it was just a hot water issue. Yeah, hot water, and 6-legged dinner guests. Employees have shared that food sometimes gets served past its expiration date. Garnishes get reused from returned plates. If it looks dry, they just add more sauce. And the 5-second rule? More like policy. Some even confess to diluting dressings and sauces to make them last longer. Vintage ranch is not a flavor you want. Sanitation? Depends on the day. Mold in ice machines. Dirty plates stored as clean. Raw chicken touched by bare hands that then touch your plate. One inspection in Georgia scored Applebee's a 63 out of 100, basically a D- for dinner. And the workplace? Let's just say the neighborhood vibe doesn't extend to staff. Applebee's has been sued for wage theft, discrimination, and sexual harassment, more than any other casual chain between 2010 and 2018. One executive was even caught emailing that rising gas prices were good because they could pay workers less. The only thing more toxic than the chicken tenders is the corporate culture. Late at night, some locations literally turn into nightclubs, Club Applebee's, complete with DJs, dance floors, and whipped cream body shots. Because nothing says family dining like watching someone twerk next to the mozzarella sticks. Still wondering why people keep showing up? It's the deals. 2 for $25 dinners, $1 drinks, half-price apps after 9 p.m. It's the fast food equivalent of a bad ex. You know they're garbage, but they're cheap, convenient, and your brain keeps forgetting how bad it was last time. Also, nostalgia hits hard. Some people grew up celebrating birthdays here. Others just want to drown their student debt in a Mountain Dew margarita. And let's be real. When it's midnight in the suburbs, Applebee's might be the only thing open that's not a gas station or your fridge. So yeah, eating good in the neighborhood might sound warm and fuzzy, but at Applebee's, it really means you're eating microwaved meat paste on a plate that may or may not be clean, with a side of watered-down tequila and a cockroach cameo. Ever been served something so sketchy you couldn't tell if it was food or a dare? Tell us your weirdest restaurant moment in the comments.